Section 6.6 is where we're going to solve radical equations. Here's your steps that you're going to use. We're going to isolate the radical, get rid of the radical, and then always check our answers. Let's take a look at our first one. So I'm going to get the radical part by itself. So what that means is I want this section of my equation all by itself. So I'm going to minus 2 from both sides. That's where I got this part. To get rid of the square root, the inverse would be squaring. So I'm going to square both sides. That gets rid of the radical, so I have 3x minus 5. Over here, when I do 4 squared, I get 16. Now it's just a normal equation. Add my 5, divide by 3. With these, you should check your answer, so that means you want to plug it back into the original equation where x is. So I substituted this in, and I just typed this into my calculator. So I did 3 times 7 minus 5, which is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. Add 2. I do get 6, which is what is matching on the other side. Pause the video and try the next question. So on the next question, you're trying to isolate this guy with a rational exponent. So I would add 5 to both sides first. That's where this 3 came from. To get rid of the 1/2, you would want to square both sides. So that is the inverse I would use. So I would do 6x plus 21, and then 3 squared gives me 9. I'm going to minus my 21, and I'm going to divide by 6. I'm going to plug that negative 2 back into my original equation to see if the left side will simplify to negative 2. I typed all of this into my calculator. I got 9. 9 to the 1/2 is 3. 3 minus 5 is negative 2, so it does match the right side. Now let's take a look at another one. So on 2a, same deal. I want to get this all by itself. So first step, I would add 9 to the other side. I would divide by 4 before I did anything else. So think of this like 4x minus 9 equals 3. That's what you're trying to isolate to get by itself. So now, opposite of the third root is that I want to do power of 3. Right? So a cube root, I'm going to be doing cubes. So I'm going to get left with 2x plus 6. Cube my 3, I get 27, minus my 6, divide by 2. Still check my answer. So I plugged it back into the original for x. I type all of this into my calculator. Got 27. Then at this point, you could type it all in. I just did 27 to the 1/3. And then I typed it all in and I got 3, which matches. Pause the video and try the next question. So on the next question, you should have minus 8 first and then divided by negative 1. In order to get rid of this cube root, you will want to take it to a power of 3. So that's why I got 4x minus 1 and 27. Add your 1, divide by 4, you should have gotten 7. Plug it back into your original, and you're going to type in everything here. So I got 27. Cube root of 27 is 3. Negative 3 plus 8 is 5. It does check out. That concludes day 1. So now you are ready for day 2. On day 2, we are still going to be solving, but taking it up a notch. So still doing the same steps. Isolate this part that would have the radical. So if it has a fraction exponent, that's the part I'm going to get by itself. So I would minus my 8 to get started. And I would divide 2 by 2/3 to get rid of that 2/3. You can also multiply by the reciprocal. Okay? Get rid of my 6th root means I'm going to take it to a power of 6. So that's where this number 729 came from. Minus your 14, divide by 11. You still must check your answer. So I'm going to plug it back into the original. So I'm putting it in for x, and then I'm solving. Type all that into your calculator. So I typed this in, did it to the 1/6, took it times 2/3. I got 2. 2 plus 8 is 10. Pause the video and try the next question. So on the next question, you would want to add 2 first and then divide by 3. Now you're going to take it to a power of 5. So I have 4x minus 8 to the 32, and then add 8 and divide by 4. Checking that answer, it does end up checking, so you should put it in here. This would have given you 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. All right, the other part to this is that we are going to solve this by graphing, which is why we're going to use our graphing calculators. So it's kind of the same steps that we did with quadratics. You're going to make sure that you have it equal to 0 to begin with. So here are your 3 steps, okay? So I'm going to move my 9 over by minusing, and that's where that plus 1 comes from. Then I'm going to type it into my calculator. So to graph this guy, I want to type it into my y equals. So here's what it's going to look like. So I've got my 2. I'm going to go to math and go down to number 4 for that cube root. Notice you have a parenthesis. So you're going to put parentheses around everything underneath that radical. So I'm going to do 3x minus 4, but I'm going to close that parenthesis because I'm done with the radical. Then I'm going to plus 1. I'm going to hit graph. We talked about what these graphs look like for a cube root. So there is your S shape. Remember, where are your answers on a graph? Same with when we were doing quadratics. Where are the answers with polynomials? They are always on the x-axis, right? So you're going to go to calc, go down to number 2, and we're going left and right of that point. So I'm going to go a little bit closer. So I'm left of that. Then I'm going to scroll above. So I am right. And then I'm going to hit enter. So that is why I put my answer at x equals 1.29. All right, pause the video and try the next question. So on your next question, hopefully you moved your 6 over first, so that's where that 7 came from, and then typing it in. So -5. Now I'm doing a 4th root, so this will be tricky. You want to make sure that you're putting a multiplication sign in between there. Otherwise, if you just type a 4, it's going to look like -54, okay? So you want to do a times sign, then your 4, go to math, go down there to that 4th root, which was number 5. Again, you need parentheses around what's underneath the radical. So I'm going to do a parenthesis, 2x minus 3, close it because I'm done with the radical, and then plus 7. Yep, that's what a 5th root looks like, or a 4th root looks like. So it's similar to a square root, okay? So my 4th root's looking like this, but remember my answer is where it crosses that x-axis. So you should be going to calc, go down to number 2, and you want to be left and right of that x-intercept. So right now, I can't see my cursor because it's not currently on my graph, right? So look at your y values. When I was over here by 0, it's not on there because you don't have a graph there. So just keep scrolling until you get over there on your graph. So I want to be left of my x-intercept. So that's going to be there. I'm going to go right of my x-intercept. So that's going to be here. And then I'm going to set it enter. So that's why it's 3.42. All right, so this section is all about solving those radical and rational equations, either by algebra or by graphing.